Welcome back, guys. In today's tutorial, we're going to be making a super easy market bag. This is a very easy, simple bag that somewhat of a beginner can do. All you have to know is how to chain, single crochet, double crochet, and slip stitch. That is literally it. And one of my favorite parts is that you can make this in one day. And if you do like tutorials like this that are easy and quick, go ahead and hit the follow button and leave a comment. It really helps out my channel. I really like the bulky twist yarn that I use that's available at Michael's. The yarn is perfect for spring and summer. But that being said, you can use whatever yarn you want. So grab your hook and let's go crochet. I used 3 skeins of the bulky twist by Loops and Threads, a 5.5 millimeter hook, of course scissors and a tapestry needle, and some stitch markers. You're going to start by making a slip knot and chaining 40. Once you have your 40, starting from the second chain from the hook, we're going to single crochet all the way down. So again, we're going to skip that first one and we're going to go work into our second one. You're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through those 2. That is a single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way down, and you should have 39 single crochets. So go ahead and complete that and meet with me when you're at the end. For the next row, we're gonna chain 1. We're gonna turn our work, and we are just going to single crochet for 8 more rows. So we want a total of 9 single crocheted rows. This is gonna be the bottom of our bag. So go ahead and do those 9 rows. You wanna have 9 total, and then meet back up with me. All right, now I have my 9 rows. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, I'm going to be using a stitch marker. This row is very important, so you definitely don't want to mess up this row. It sets up your foundation. So we are going to be doing some counting in this row. Now we're going to be working all the way around our piece, and we put our stitch marker on the last stitch of row 9. So to start it off, we're going to be doing 3 stitches into that same space, that same hole right here for our corner. So 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3. Now we are going to do 8 stitches across this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now I have our 8th. All right, we need to do our corner right here, but I'm actually not going to put it right here where I'm going to be working into. I'm going to put it right where we just were. So I'm going to do 3 single crochets right in here. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to have 39 single crochets going all the way down, but count it and make sure you have 39. And I am going to be working in part of this, so then I just have to weave it in the other way. Okay.
So don't skip that first one. 1, 2, 3, 38, 39, so that was perfect. We're gonna do 3 single crochets into this same space. 3. We're gonna do 8 right here, but don't just keep doing what we've been doing because we are gonna change it up in this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and now you want to make sure that you don't want to skip your first stitch right here, but I am going to just add 2 to this corner. So it's very important, don't add 3, add 2 to this corner. 1, 1, 2. Should start here. We're going to do 39 single crochets all the way down and meet me back at your stitch marker. All right, so I got 39 perfectly. This is my 39th, right where the stitch marker is. All right, but before I move on, I am going to count around this just to double check that I have 105 stitches. So go ahead and pause this, make sure you have 105, and then let's move on. Mine is perfect, so now I'm just going to start doing.
So for the next 3 rows, row 2, row 3, and row 4, they're going to be single crochet. So go ahead and complete that and then meet back up with me when you're done.
All right, so I did 3 of my rows of single crochet. Now we are going to slip stitch it. This was where we started. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to work a regular granny cluster in this same space. So we're going to add 2 more double crochets. Right? Now we're going to skip 2 stitches. So we're going to skip, skip, and we're going to work in this one. We're going to do that same thing all the way around.
So if you need to keep watching, you can keep watching to understand what we're doing. Otherwise, you can pause it here and meet back with me when you have completed this row, and we'll move in to the next row. All right, so I made it to the end. I'm about to add my last cluster. And now I'm going to slip stitch it into our 3rd stitch that we started with from our chain 3. Chain 3. And work 2 double crochets into that space. And that is how we're going to keep building our rows on. You want to keep working in your granny clusters, and you're going to finish this row, so that will be 2 rows complete, and you're going to have 14 more rows to go for a total of 16 rows. So once you finish your 16 rows of granny clusters, go ahead and meet back up with me.
Right, so now you should have 16 rows. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we have 16. So our 17th row, we're going to start getting it to taper in a little bit. So I have chain 3. We are going to do the granny clusters. We're going to do every other one. We're going to do 3, and then the next one is going to be 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, to help taper it in. So this will be a subtle taper. So we're going to start with 3. Now we're just going to do 2. So we're just going to do 2 double crochets in this one. Now we're going to do 3. Now we're going to do 2.
And now 3.
So just keep going all the way until you get back to where you started. All right, so this row is complete, and I did end up with 2 of the 3 clusters next to each other, and that is perfectly fine. All right, so now we're on row 18, and row 18 is going to be similar but different. We're going to be doing 3 sets of 2 clusters, and then we're going to do our 4th set is going to be 3. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 with just 2 double crochets. So that's our first. Two, 3. 1, 2. So we got 3 double clusters. Now we're going to do our 3 cluster. 1, 2, 3. So this is the sequence. So now we're going to go back to doing our double cluster. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we got 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do the triple cluster. All right, so just go ahead and continue with that same sequence and meet back with me when you're finished. So now row 18 is completely done. So we have a nice taper that's just subtle enough. This next round, row number 19, you just want to chain 1, and we are going to be doing single crochet. All the way around. And then you don't want too much tension. You want to have just normal tension for this round. So we're not tightening anything. We just leave it alone. So go ahead and meet me back when you have made it to your chain 1. We've made it to the end. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this slip stitch, yarn over, and I'm going to insert my hook in that same stitch, doing a half double crochet. And now I'm going to do a half double crochet all the way around for this row. So go ahead and meet back with me when you are right here. So I am at the end of my row. I have the stitch left. Right. And now I'm going to slip stitch it right in here. Yarn over. And now I'm actually going to be going around all 3 strands. And it's going to give it a little extra security. So that was this stitch. Now we're going to do this. So you're going to see there's a strand right there and there's 2 right here. So we're just going to make sure that you get that back strand. You should be going under 3 strands. And again, it's just normal tension. I'm not pulling tight or anything. So there's that. You want to make sure you're under that. So go ahead and finish and meet back with me when you have made it to the end. All right, so now we are finished with our base. So we're just going to slip stitch right in here. And we're going to snip it. What we're going to do is you're going to lay your bag flat. You want it to be about as even as possible. So make sure that this looks even. And now we're going to mark where we're going to put our handles. So we are going to need our stitch markers. So you should have 4 of them. And this is how I did my handles, and it was really easy. And if you want, you can actually weave this in right now. I'm going to just mark my handles first. You're going to fold it in half, make sure it's really good. And then you're going to count 10 to 10. But make sure that they're even. So there should be 2 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right here and here is my 10th. So that makes it where there is 20 stitches. You want to have 20 stitches in between them. And I'm just gonna double check. Perfect. And the same thing on this side. Good to me. So just make sure that that's where you want it. You can open it up, do whatever you need to do. Make sure this is exactly how you want it. So because I crocheted this direction, I'm going to start with the one on the right. We're going to go right into the handle, and you want to make sure when you're chaining that you are not twisting this, because you will be in a very bad situation if this gets twisted. So for my handle, I want it to be long so I can put it on my shoulder. So I will be chaining 70 for each strap. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I changed my 70. So now I'm going to slip stitch it right into this area right here. Again, make sure that it does not get twisted. Sure. and you're just gonna slip stitch it in. And now I'm gonna lose the stitch marker. And now I'm just going to single crochet all the way to my next stitch marker. And then I'm gonna chain, well, I'll just do it. Okay, so meet me back at this stitch marker. I made it to my next stitch marker, but I'm not gonna single crochet. Instead, I'm just going to slip stitch. And now I'm gonna chain my 70. Right, I chained my 70. Now I'm going to slip stitch it right here. Oh, there we go. Gonna undo my stitch marker. I'm going to single crochet all the way till I get to here. I have one more stitch before I make it to my handle, to my strap. So I am going to slip stitch right here, and now I'm going to single crochet right into the chain. But I'm also going to mark right here. So now we're just going to single crochet our chain all the way down. So you really want to make sure that it stays in the nice braid, and if it turns around, you have turned it at some points. So you want to make sure you do not turn it. So go ahead and meet me when you get to the end of your strap, right over here. All right, we have one more stitch. And now we are going to slip stitch right on our first one on the main piece and begin our single crochet. And you're going to do that same thing, just going all the way around. Remember, again, you are going to slip stitch right before we work our chain, and then right after we're done with our chain, we're going to slip stitch right here, and you're going to meet me back when you get to your stitch marker. All right, we're on our next row, and now it's going to be a little bit different. So now we're going to decrease. So you're going to pick up those, pull through 2, yarn over, and then pull through. So that became 1 stitch, and now we're just going to work the rest of our bag. But after you are finished, you are going to do a decrease. The last 2 stitches, you're going to do these 2 are going to become 1. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So go ahead and meet back with me when you are at your stitch marker. All right, we are at our next row, and I actually stopped a stitch before, so you're going to want to, if you did do that stitch, you're going to want to undo that. And you have 2 rows left, and you're going to do the exact same thing on both rows. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do 2 decreases. We're going to do 1 at the base, and then we're going to do 1 on the strap. And then we're just going to keep going, but I am going to mark that again. And I'm going to mark right before. we would need to do our other decrease. And we're doing that for each little side of the strap. So you're going to add a single crochet all on the strap and then do the decrease and then a decrease over here. I will show you how I do it on the other side. I'm at the other side of my handle, and so I have 2 left on the handle, so I'm going to decrease. And now I have 2 at the base. So you're going to go ahead and finish this row, and then you're going to do the exact same thing one more time, and then your bag is done. All we have left is the tassel.
I hope you guys love this quick market bag tutorial. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like button if you like quick and easy crochet projects. And just know you're gonna love this easy bolero, which is gonna be right here for you.